Welcome back, everybody. Oh, Susan in top form today. Welcome back to the Canyon, everybody. Welcome back to something that, I mean, frankly, just doesn't come along very often because we are not devoutly, perhaps devoutly, but we are, there's a bit of a non-RTR house here. So the opportunity to bring in an RTR, I'm running through my head. I'm trying to think, what is the last RTR that we bought? Baseline the SE. Which I think the Element Enduro SE gets a soft pass on the RTR front because that and the U-Tron are still the only way to get a Stealth XF gearbox, which is, I think, a superior gearbox to the Stealth X. So if you want an XF, you either have to build it by a kit or you got to buy an SE. Now the SE is a completely different discussion here, right? $299.99, $499.99. And as people have pointed out in the comments, they're imagining a not distant future, but a nearer future where we see this guy in the 300 and change neighborhood. And I don't think that's a crazy assumption because $499 RTRs it's up there. Traxxas has got some that get a little steeper. We got the whoa! That's double ply. That's the double thick cardboard. That's one of those boxes that we can't make ourselves throw away. You know what I mean? Because we can figure out something to do with that. We cut the plastic. Can we get away? We cut the plastic. Everybody loves an unboxing. I mean, who doesn't love an unboxing? Unboxing is right up there with peeling that protective plastic. Oh, we opened the right end. Look at that. Hello, buddy. He's got his little stinger bumper going. Pulling that little plastic protector. That bumper's coming in handy. Yeah. Then we got oh. I almost hucked the box with the radio. Hey, RC four-wheel drive should take note. That is way softer than any of the foams they ship with their tires. Hey-oh! We went with the gray one, as you can see. Should not need to point that out. Because I think it looks better. A little bit of this in here. A little bit of this over here. It's actually a bag. You can keep that. Save that for... Nope, it's a sleeve. You can't save that for later. Oh, see? We got the hood, though. We'll save that one. Underneath should be some things. I don't know what. Let's give it a snip here. We'll talk about all of the usual things. DX3. Ooh, look at this. Look at this upgrade we've been given here. The thumb steer. I have questions. I have questions already. And those will be answered in due time. Like, we've got AB. There's a 10.3 gearbox in there, everybody. This is a 10.3. CJ-7 is an Axial 10.3. Despite the fact that the BaseCamp is the thing that exists, they haven't insisted on trotting out another 10.3 based. But props again. Look. This is an RTR. Full manual. It's probably in 8 languages, but we get a full manual. Too many vehicles now. You take it out of the box and you get a sheet, and if you're lucky, you get a QR code. I'm guessing there's optional rock lights available, or lights and light bar. And is there an optional light kit for this? I feel like there has to be. Let's see what's in here. Oh, look at you, you absolute treasures. 4 GP Ultra Plus alkaline batteries. I don't even have to dig through my pile of AA batteries. I feel like the only thing we're going to need to do well, we're going to do this. It's not going to be as rewarding because it's that like soft vinyl-y, you know. You want that. You know what I mean? We won't dock points for that. Is our mounting old 10.3? Yeah, oh. Ugh. Okay. What? All right. Oh, okay. We go into this with the usual expectations of an RTR. This is a trail rig, right? This thing is here for beauty. This thing is here for beauty over performance. Oh, room for a winch. That is way out there. I have been a loud-spoken non-proponent of the 10.3 chassis rails because they have to employ various methods, levels, and degrees of trickery in order to get stuff to fit. The chassis has a notch. No, we can't see it here. We can't see it here. Right over here, the chassis, yeah, there it is. The chassis rail has a notch in it to clear the servo horn. And then the top of the chassis rail has a notch to clear the servo. Or you could just design the front clip 2 millimeters wider so that you don't have to notch stuff out to make your electronics fit. But here we are. Why are we here? The biggest part of it has to be the body that I regard to be the prettiest, maybe the prettiest body Axial's ever done. Like that's a good looking body. And I just figured out how they can ship this, which is this vehicle is fitted with a 10.3, the full blown, so the motor's way up here. It is my least favorite rock crawler gearbox in rock crawling, and I will tell you why right after we get through what you have to do to get the body off. So the back clips are up. You can't even see them up here above the bumper. Pull those out. I can't even see. Okay, wait. This is the price of hidden clips, but the front is so much better. They are installed aiming toward the bumper, so we have to. Is this for small-handed people? Because this is not a joyous experience. Take the body off now. Oh. Yeah. Headlights and taillights. I didn't even know. So, oh my God, look at the number of fasteners. For those curious, and I think there might be a lot of people curious about this. Let's give you an early number. We'll grab this, we'll put this on here, look at this. Lexan with a lot of gubbins. 616 grams for the body, which is 1.36 pounds, to give you an idea. In terms of sacrifices for vanity, this is a sacrifice for vanity. If you want a body that looks this glorious, can I grab it? No, but I can use tools. I can use tools. This is something that I would call hard body adjacent. Are you unwilling to fully embrace the 2 kilos of a hard body, but you want something that's so scale you can, it's got pedals. There's pedals in it, right? This is hard body level of detail, but with the durability brought about by injection molded roll cage. And then the shattery bits are Lexan. So all this around is Lexan. I think this body is gorgeous, and I think it won't fall into the same self-described failings of installments by, say, Killer Body, like the Marauder. And I say failing because the body is so beautiful, and it is so difficult to assemble that I'm afraid to drive it because I'm afraid I'm going to ruin it. With this body, I don't have this. This body is robusto. This body feels very robust. And as it should, it weighs almost 1.5 pounds. You throw some driver figures in it, you know you're over 1.5 pounds. So here we've got our guy without the body, RTR, 6 pounds. So this boy right here is 7.5 pounds RTR out of the box. They give us both pre-installed. We've got do you want your battery over here, or do you want your battery over here? We've got both. I'm a fan of that. There is your usual forward motor mount with the fake motor on top of it, which, okay, thank you. Places for rock lights, front and rear. That is something I don't recall from the fenders on the original JLU 10.3. So thanks for that, because if you're going for this, you're probably going for something a little more scale. We've got the Mickey Thompson Baja Boss. I feel like this is the only time I have seen the Baja Boss. Like, is it a new offering? Servo is the 614, and the shifter is the newer SX10. And by shifter, I actually mean dig. So that's how they get around it on a 3-channel radio when you have a 4-channel rig. Here's where you would install the servo for the 2-speed. And inside the little bin here are the pieces to attach to another SX10 to get you 2-speed. Now, that is something that I can actively say right now. You don't have to bother to do that, because the split in gears in the 2-speed in this is so small as to be called what I would call vestigial. You won't even notice that you have a 2-speed. I made many a climb in the JLU with it in second gear, not knowing it was in second gear, because the gear spacing is so close between low gear and high gear. So the 10.3 is also noisy. This vehicle right here is definitely striving for some sort of scale accuracy, because it is way oversprung and way underdamped. I mean, some thicker oil in the shocks would cure some of it, 20% of it. The shocks are too long. This vehicle should sit about there, and which is like where a 90 would put it. So I don't know what Axial's fascination is with constantly equipping new vehicles with hundreds. Attention! Your Axial ESC becomes pre-programmed with the LiPo cutoff feature set to on. Turn on your transmitter, connect the ESC battery lead to the battery. Because this is the Spectrum Firma Smart ESC and receiver, which is wild. This is, we're far enough into the 21st century that I didn't think we needed TV VCR combos anymore, because if one component goes bad, both components have effectively gone bad, and you are being manhandled into the Spectrum ecosystem by having a combined speed control and receiver, when I genuinely see no need for it. What is a positive, though, is that there's the antenna. The antenna is 20 millimeters long, so I'm all for that. The motor will be it's a Dynamite. It's not even so it's full. So we've got a hodgepodge here. I see a 5. I'm gonna guess 35 turn. It's buried under plastics. Dynamite, DNS, 1216, 35 turn, 540 brushed sealed can. That motor is unimpressive by anyone's measure or understanding. And the problem here is, here's where we come to a problem. If you're not deep in the Spectrum ecosystem, you are going to have to solder right away, because their plug puts a little ribby in the middle for the whatever, you can get battery telemetry. Yeah, there it is. The smart battery level, it puts a little ribby in there so it won't fit. So we are going to have to desolder that, and we are going to solder a female XT60 on there, and then we will be ready to RTR as the RTR intends. For those not in the Spectrum ecosystem, and I feel like that's probably most of us, just cut it off. This is some whatever green certification compliant lead-free that they put on with an electrical induction machine. So I have a soldering iron that goes to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and it won't get through that solder. So you just lop it off. You install a new plug. You put a battery in the more sane position, which is not here. An even more sane position is you You move the motor from someplace other than the highest point on the vehicle, and you put the battery there. Yeah, it is. It is definitely more oversprung in the rear, and there's not a lot of. The body is definitely front heavy, so the amount of weight that we're throwing forward on that feels like a lot. This is one of my least favorite radios. I think the SLT3 might be worse. Just the ergonomic of it, like I am big-handed, so like most people can't do this, I don't think, where you can wrap all the way around. But like the trigger feel, it's overly tense. I look at radios more from an ergonomic standpoint than anything. We don't have to worry about things like range. We're going to have plenty of range. I don't know what goes in there. So, if it doesn't feel good in the hand, and this doesn't just apply to Spectrum radios, but this is most everybody now. They've all gone to a foam that's too small. So what you do is you get to grab this metal lip, or plastic lip, and that feels great. Everybody loves that. But I mean, if we can steer by here, which I can't, it's too long for me. It's just actually kind of in my way. If I grab the controller normally, I want to reach right over that thing. If you have normal sized hands, though, you will appreciate its inclusion. Makes a bunch of noises. I mean, I'll already say, aside from an excess of pulse mod with noise, that's not bad. Whatever, the guts of whatever's in there. I mean, it says Spectrum SE1040RX. So I'm guessing it's a 1040 ESC. I mean, a 1040, yeah, ESC, 1040 speed, Hobbywing 1040, with a receiver wedged into the same case, which, again, makes no sense, because what a lot of people who who want to run this thing in all kinds of different conditions are going to do is they're just going to plug something like a 2-in-1 in here. But then you're going to have to change your radio too. Well, I guess it does make sense from a financial standpoint. So we have 2 plugs. It's probably in the book. This is the fun part about lights. Let's assume that this is headlights. It's a fun assumption to make. Okay, this is dig, right? Yeah. Oh, that sure doesn't sound particularly healthy. How do I turn the lights on? I don't know either. Okay, there we go. What? When I plug the second plug in, all the lights turned on. I don't claim to know what's going on. All right. I am going to struggle. I'm going to struggle the struggle of the big-handed to get the body to sit down and get the body clips in. Oh. And then we're going to go drive it around. Oh, that's too much flex for this. Okay, hundreds, questionable. We're gonna go wheel it. So I was struggling with the body for several minutes to get it installed upon realizing you're not getting a battery over here, except maybe you could get a very non-trail spec. Anything above, maybe that height is even too thick. Battery wasn't fitting there, so the battery's in the back. So while I was doing that, this is your inactivity warning. I don't know if that's annoying or positive. I kind of leave radios on a lot. There's a lot of radios around here. That's not a terrible sound. And the inactivity monitor took a while. It was at least 5 minutes. So I'm kind of okay with that. I still don't like the radio. I don't think I can use this adequately. You can see the 614 is... What's the opposite of fast again? It's the Spectrum S614, everybody. That rear is sitting insanely high. This whole rig should be here just to look normal. Oh yeah, I got cameras. We're going outside. I believe that what you are going to witness today, what you're going to bear witness to, is a beautiful intermingling of love and hate. There are things about this. I have spoken at some length about the drive from the shop to the course, some 100-ish feet of somewhat flat ground, and they've already, a love column, they've done something to the gearbox. This is the quietest 10.3 box I've ever heard. The 10.3 and the JLU sounded like a coffee grinder. Forensic analysis is probably advised. I want to get inside that gearbox. I want to find out, did they put, is there a plastic gear in there somewhere? Is there a plastic spur in there now? Because it just sounds good. Hate column. On the drive back, I was trying to actuate dig. I'm trying to avoid that little puddle there because I know there's foams in these tires. If you hold it down, it digs. But then if you let it go, dig is locked. And then you tap it again, and nothing happens. You have to tap up. And getting it out of dig, sometimes you think, am I still in dig? If I push up and hold, dig engages. If I let go of dig, dig stays engaged. But it doesn't. Press and hold, dig is engaged, right? So I'm not touching anything, and now we're out of dig. Press and hold, dig is engaged. Let go, give it some reverse, you're out of dig. I thought that this thing had locked dig, not momentary dig. That's how bad the dig is. The SX1008 is no better than the SX1007. You need a servo of some significant torque, and you need to omit the servo saver mechanism on there because it's not helping anyone. Love column. Everything about the appearance of it. Everything about the body. The tires, even the plastic wheels, everything looks perfect. The bumper needs a winch, even if it's just a fake, holy cats, that wind is cold. Even if it's just a fake winch for appearances only, the look of this thing is outstanding. Do I wish it sat lower? Yeah. Do I wish we had like a wrestler in there for a driver figure? Yeah. But I have zero complaints about the look. And we're gonna tack on love column again. When it drives, because it's oversprung and underdamped on hundreds, it like memory foam, man, like a pillow. It's just conforming to all surfaces, which means for trailing, somebody built this to trail. And I knew that before I took it out of the box. This thing has its this thing is sighted at Traxxas, okay? This is aiming at the Bronco and the Blazer and the classic Bronco and the classic Blazer, and although that's who this is aimed at. This is not aimed at the rock crawler. Because if you want to rock crawl it, we have to see what these tires will... I think there you go. So it was still in dig. So throttle feel will feel pretty good. Oh my God. Okay, we've got a reasonable tire here. We've got a tire. Oh, come on. Oh, ooh. Okay. It feels like standing on a coffee table on one leg. You constantly feel like you're gonna fall down. Look at the amount of atmosphere between the ground and the back bumper. There's no reason for this to sit too high. I have this itchy inkling of a feeling that simply putting 90mm shocks on it is going to radically transform the handling of it. Everything you do feels, this is official. This is up there, okay? Traxxas with their long arms, with their, what do they call them, high trails, or as I called them, tippy long shockings. This may exceed that tippy long shockings feel because We're not on canyon trails. We're not on big burly canyon trails. We're on these scale tires that are very scale looking and scale width, and they just add to the feel. I am not hating the throttle feel that much. Drag brake is utterly non-existent. Get back off the okay. Drag brake is not existent. Let's just go straight over here, try to miss the bean, and drag brake. It doesn't have any. 40 amp ESC, sealed can 540, 7.5 pounds. That's the recipe. Do you want the recipe for no? I just remembered I can drive through water. The tires are not ventilated. The rims are. So as long as we don't submerge the tires, we should be okay. I speak at length when tuning rock crawlers about the importance of the ratio between unsprung weight and sprung weight. This vehicle will have very little sprung. I would be surprised if we're 15% unsprung weight. So the tires are not being helped here. I think these tires can do a lot better with some work to them. And we might have a contender here for very strong OE tire. It's just steering angle, pretty good. The new AR45. Huh. Whoa, criminy. Descending is wild. So the RTR electronics are exactly what the RTR electronics are. Substandard by any measure, and something that perhaps potentially those who they are clearly aiming at, they don't know. So I'm gonna pick on in my loves and hates. In my hates column will be an inclusion of what I call the grinds. They just grind. You hear that? The grinds. Grinds like the foam is too small, so it doesn't feel good. The trigger tension is too firm. So some people would be like, oh, I don't notice that. Then God help you if you pick up a radio that does have good trigger feel, and then you're like, oh my God, this is like, it's like pulling on mush. I get, with no exaggeration, 1/3 of the trigger pull before there's any wheel movement. So it just, now your trigger pull is shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So instead of trying to hit a baseball with a bat, you're trying to hit a baseball with a rolling pin. It's just, it doesn't feel as good. The rig itself, someone in the comments when I had talked about it before had said, oh, I think you'll be surprised. I am. I genuinely am. Because I went into this knowing. I was knowing several knowables. Like, I knew that we would have no drag brake. I'm not using reverse. There's basically none. So the tires are a pleasant surprise. You definitely learn real quick when to let go of that throttle. Because the rear being so oversprung, we're getting no collapse in the rear, like at all. The shocks are basically just at full extent. And self-righting is not a thing that will be happening. And again, when I move from setup to setup, as you walk behind this thing and you wheel it, you go, just look at it. Just like, it's beautiful. I'm enamored. But I feel like you see her and you are brought in by the allure. And then you find out that like she says rude things about immigrants, right? Like that's kind of what we're dealing with. I am holding, okay, I want to show you. Let's see if we can split here. I got oh, there we go. Okay. I am holding like half throttle just to hold it in place. Oh. When you get into any situation where you need fidelity, I think the steering is faster on a full-size Jeep. And then if you're bound at all, I didn't use reverse. There's no reverse used there. If you get to anything remotely technical, you are falling. And it is potentially unwritable in its current configuration. Love column again. Yeah, you can just fold the mirrors in. Beautiful. I think I would have them folded in all the time. Doing any kind of a climb. Yeah. The breakover leaves a lot to be desired. And any drag brake at all would be a welcome addition. It's a shame to see something so pretty fall down so much. But well and truly, here we are. I wanted to make it over here to something a little more open, a little more trail-y, a little more traily, because honestly, I have spoken about the 2-speed in the 10.3, and are we in second gear? Is this thing just in second gear? Was there no, there's usually a spacer to lock it out. Like this, that's too fast for first gear. Is this why I have no drag brake? Because that's about the speed you want to see in second gear. There's some soft shockies on there. So, I'm going to spend about 5 minutes figuring that out. And it's not a joke when I say that it is 3 to 5 minutes to get the body on and off. The transmission is indeed locked. It has the internal internal shim. And based on the 10.3 box, I can't tell you if it's locked into low or high. One would hope that that's high, and it might be something they do. I also brought out, I've got the old Spectrum box. It is not compatible with that ESC. It just says connecting to ESC and nothing happens. So some other card would be required for programming. I want to say, this has to be locked in high, which is going to mess with the drag brake quite a bit. It just feels too fast. But again, I lock the body in place and then I drive it from where it was to back over to where I am, and I'm like, oh, look at it. Just look at it. I'm not turning into a trail guy all of a sudden. I would want to try to make this crawl rocks, like rocks. What is not to like? There are aspects of performance that I'm not willing to go without. Just because you are quote unquote trail, or as Traxxas would call it, scale and trail, and probably has a trademark on it, doesn't mean you have to sacrifice capability. So we have to get down to the brass tacks, to the nuts and bolts, to the nitty gritty, which is what sits before you, and partially what's being held in my hand, is $500 American dollars here in the land of America. And it is done in such a way as to dissuade you from attempting to create this yourself. Because the axles and the body and the tires alone, at least $350 to put together all the pieces. Just for tires, body, and axles. So you're sitting there in the store, or you're staring at your computer screen and you think, well, it's only $150 to get the rest of it. And you're right, because if you have a Spectrum battery or you bought a Spectrum battery, go drive. You're there, ready to run. And in ready-to-run configuration, it's not terrible. If you have no experience, you'd be like, wow, this is impressive. And it is impressive enough to, let's just let it roll all the way back down. It is impressive enough to a degree that I think to many, they would forget $500. All of the electronics are not helping. The performance of the dig is so bad on that SX1008 servo. And if you replace this SX108, it's going to get a little better. But really what you want is a radio that has a momentary switch, which means you're going to have to replace the radio. And if you're going to replace the radio, you also have to buy yourself a new speed control. And if you're buying a new speed control, you might as well get a new motor, because if you're going to do that, you might as well get a Fusion. So we're talking about a Fusion 1200, let's say, and a Radio Link radio. That's $140. So now your RTR is no longer $500, it's $640, and you've got a box of parts. Then you're going to want to put 90 millimeter shocks on it, because the hundreds are, it is not my opinion that they are too much. This is our breakover. And then descending is nightmarish. So they have you and me and we and us over a proverbial barrel. It is so good looking. So good looking. Maybe, and as I said it earlier, the best looking axial body that they've done. Maybe in the top 3 best looking factory bodies, like a body provided to you by a manufacturer, not something that someone painted up for you. For a body coming out of a factory, I mean, just look at it. I'm enamored. But I am not enamored to the point that I'm willing to overlook this. Oh, there we go. The fact that it is beyond tippy. If you never touched wheel to a rock, I mean, genuinely, yeah, it's too fast for rock crawling in whatever gear it's locked in. The sprung to unsprung ratio is not conducive to rock crawling in any way. If they say rock crawling somewhere on the box, technically correct. I guess to be technically correct is the best kind of correct. But, I mean, I would not buy this as a rock crawler. The body weighs 1.36 pounds. It does, though. Here's what it do. And that is, in my eye, it unquestionably passes the condo test. Does it spark joy? Yes. But the spark of joy is not the end of it. You have to enter into this contract. You have to enter into this marriage of man and machine, knowing one thing is a fact. This, the Axial SCX10 CJ-7, is a $500 RTR. And yeah, it's ready to run at $500. It will do the thing. You can rock crawl a tiny little bit. You could probably trail to your heart's content until your wheels fill with water and the foams dissolve into a mushy paste. But what sits before you looking just impeccable under the bridge is that vehicle. This gentleman, say hi, bud. That is $800 at the low end before you're done. And probably, really quite most likely, $1,000. So what you have to do is you have to want that body. You have to look at that body and go, nothing else matters, because you're going to, you are aiming yourself in a direction down which there is a road, and that road is paved with your money. So is it Canyon certified? Oh God, no. It's a 10.3 under it. What that 10.3 has is some good looking tires and an inarguably gorgeous body. And I am willing to make sacrifices for that. But the truth be told, that gentleman over there, Renegade, and I do that thing where you take the middle and the end, like Pig Latin, but less. So Renegade becomes Generade or Generade. So in my head, I've been calling it Generade. He'll work his way into his own name. He is going to make sacrifices from inside himself to become better. He does not do what I want him to do, but he looks so good that you know what? We'll make it do what we want it to do. So is this a quick review? Yes. Is this recommended? It's not recommended. But you definitely have to go into this knowing what you're getting into. You got to know who you're marrying, man. This is not a matchmaker match made in heaven. You have to be willing to... This is a sacrifice. Because if you want a rock crawler, do not buy that. If you want a trail truck that you can pour your love, time, and money into it to make it into a rock crawler that is gorgeous, then yeah, it's here waiting for you. What you might do, maybe wait a year and see if Horizon has to hack it down to 329. At 329, I'd be like, get it. Get it. At $499, this is a hard... Do you trail? It'll do the thing, but before it does the thing, it will take your wallet out to the woodshed. So, here from the Canyon, cost, price is always an object, always. And I think we're coming out on the level, even though we're going to fill a box with stuff like this. I won't be sad to see this go. I won't be sad to see that combo 40 amp go. I won't be sad to see any of that go. So, the CJ and I, we thank you so much for joining us here in the Canyon for this, an RTR Quickview that, I mean, in terms of a trail truck, it's too expensive, but is it pretty enough to make you spend that money? I almost pulled the trigger on that RC four-wheel drive Miller Motorsports, which is $499.99. So, yeah, there it is. I'm not ambivalent. Let me get the light to hit it just right. And we look forward to seeing you again here in the Canyon with whatever comes next. This guy is going to go under the proverbial knife. You will see him again soon, and he will still look like this, but he won't handle like this. So stay tuned for that, everybody. If you're interested, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. What you do need to know is that you should, under my own personal recommendations as a YouTuber, that's what my wife says I am, you should one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you here in the next one from the Canyon. We loved having you. We will catch you next time. CJ and I and the Canyon, we out.